Welcome to the Mystery Mouse Knitting Podcast. My name is Holly, and I'm coming to you from Colorado, where I live with my husband and our 5 kids and our many pets. And today is Friday, March 3rd. I think today's March 3rd. It's kind of a gloomy gray day outside, which I don't mind. I love gray days. It's the afternoon. Some of my kids are playing outside, and one of my older boys is trying to get the baby to sleep, so we'll see how that goes. I hope he'll be quiet because there's no quiet in this house. I'm drinking coffee in my mug. I just got this from Target. It's with, I think, all their Easter seasonal stuff. It says somebody loves you. And my mom my mom cross-stitched a little somebody loves you, a little cross-stitch thing for one of my brothers when he was a baby. And so I always, if I see that, it reminds me of that. So plus we're trying to gear up for spring, right? I like the spring, but I don't like summer, and so it's kind of, spring is a little bittersweet for me. But I do love spring as far as growing things and little baby animals and stuff like that. First of all, let me talk about what I'm wearing really quick. I was trying to think of a knitted thing I could wear. I'm starting to run out because I need to cast off some things. So, but I had never worn this sweater in the podcast. This is a sweater I designed myself, and I used a book by Sally Melville, which I will make sure to put in the show notes. She had a very detailed book on like numbers and stuff like that, and I really enjoyed it. But the thing is, this sweater did turn out way bigger than I wanted it to be. Let me stand up and I can show you. It's kind of an old sweater now. It's just a raglan. I did it in pieces from the bottom up, and it's got color work. And this was my sort of fan art sweater from the show Once Upon a Time. So it actually says Once Upon a Time in the back. And I was trying to do different motifs for the different fairy tales they were doing. I do have this spinning wheel. You can see on the bottom, and then this is for the Enchanted Forest. This is a snowflake for the Elsa Snow Queen character. Of course, the bitten apple for Snow White. I have a Queen of Hearts crown for Alice in Wonderland. A chipped teacup. It's a little hard to see. A chipped teacup for Beauty and the Beast, and a rose for Beauty and the Beast. And so I made this a long time ago. The sleeves are really too long. That's the bad thing about knitting sleeves from the bottom up, is it's very difficult to tell how long they're going to turn out. So, but otherwise, yeah, I wear this sweater a lot for like at night if I'm cold. It's super warm and cozy because it's worsted weight. This is all Cascade 220 yarn. So it's worsted weight and it's color work, so it's kind of doubled in many places. So, so that is this sweater. I guess I would call it my Once Upon a Time sweater. And I thought another reason I thought I'd wear it is because I am working on designing a colorwork sweater as a fan sweater for Murder, She Wrote that I would really like to put the pattern out on. So this is like my kind of limited experience, but something that I hopefully will build on to do that sweater. I have a lot to talk about today again, which is good. I'm glad I have things to talk about, but I always feel like I'm going to forget something. And I think I did forget something. Hold on. So I finished this red cowl. This is out of Malabrigo, some kind of Malabrigo. The color is Blood Runs Cold. And I just made up this little cowl. I haven't woven in the ends yet, as you can see. So this is the back, and then I just did short rows and kind of to a point on the front. And I could try this on for you, but I don't know, it's so awkward. Let's see. So it's just like a turtleneck kind of style cowl, and then I will tuck in the ends. Where is this? And that will just keep me warm. And then also the this can be folded under if I want. I don't want it so close to my neck. So I really like how it turned out. It's just what I wanted to wear with my dress coat. And I was going to try and use up as much of the yarn as possible because, you know, I only had one skein. It's DK. And I have probably half of it left. So I was like, oh, I should make mitts. Okay. And I thought I would show you my mitt basket of shame. This is all the mitts that I have one of. Well, actually, I don't even think it's all of them. I have this mitt I just made up. It's very nice. It's just like a broken rib, doesn't have a thumb. This is in the lemon meringue color by Yarn Cafe Creations in a DK. And I have the rest of the yarn in here somewhere. So I love this yarn. It's so pretty and it's really springy. And I think I was gonna make these for Mary because yellow is one of her favorite colors. So I have one of those done. Once again, it was making up the pattern, and now I'm kind of like, oh, I'm gonna have to figure out what I was doing, and it's gonna be hard. Then I have this mitt, which is complete. Ends are not woven in, but it has a thumb. This is the Cotton Candy mitts by, ooh, it's got a big hole in it, by Knitting McPurley, but I did them, they're supposed to be bulky, and I did them in worsted because I wanted to just see if it would make a smaller mitt, and it did. This would be perfect for my daughter Ivy, and I better do it quickly before she grows out of it because she's turning 11 in a few weeks, and I can't believe that. It's the rest of the yarn. This is just some yarn I dyed. And then what else do I have in here? Looks like that's it. I also have one mitten of the Knitting McPurley Advent without the thumb. So you can see when I say to myself, oh, I should just whip up some mitts, I'm a little skeptical of my follow through. But on the other hand, I suppose I could look at it as I've got a bunch of things that are half finished, and if I would just finish them, you know, it wouldn't be that hard. But anyway, so this is done. I'm super happy to have an FO, and I will weave in these ends and wear this to church on Sunday with my coat. So now the whips. I have a bazillion whips. Okay. I have in here a whip that I can't show you because it is my pattern for my advent calendar. I've already seen a commercial for an advent calendar, you know, like not a commercial, but somebody saying, hey, I'm going to put my advent calendar up really soon, blah, blah. I think it was at the end of March. It's like, man, every year it gets earlier. But I think what people are trying to do is like beat everybody else so that, you know, because once you buy an advent calendar, you might not buy another one. Anyway, my point is we have to think about advent calendars really early in the year, pretty much as soon as Christmas is over. But in here, this is my bucket bag from Delightful Works. And it's a great bag. I have, so I have 12 mini skeins in here and one full skein. And they're not actually my advent colors. I haven't dyed those yet, but I wanted to see how the yarn placement went and kind of get an idea for what days color should be on and stuff like that, and work out my pattern. So I'm really excited. I think it's going to be a good one. I have really enjoyed making it so far. And just keep your eyes peeled. I'm not sure when my advent calendar is going to be going up, but it will probably be within the next couple months. So I will tell you more about that when it happens. Let's see. All right, I have my Beauty and the Beast pullover by Megan Reagan in my Beauty and the Beast bag that I made myself, which is falling apart a little bit. I think I sewed in the lining by hand and it's just coming out, so I need to do that again. So I have worked on this several times, and it's not super exciting, but I'm working on this color work down the body. And I've gotten a couple more repeats of my my fleur-de-lis pattern. So I'm getting close to the ribbing. I probably really need to try it on. As you can see, I probably have about, I don't know, 8 inches, 7 or 8 inches from the separation for the sleeves. So I think I will have a try on of this pretty soon and see how much longer I want it, because I'm getting close. And of course, then I have 2 fingering weight sleeves to knit. So you're going to be seeing this a few more times, I'm sure, but I am working on it and I wanted to report on it because I think I need that accountability. I don't want to just not mention it and have you guys say, hey, weren't you knitting some kind of Beauty and the Beast thing? Yes. So I'm enjoying that. That actually has become a nice, relatively mindless project because you know, the color work's pretty simple and easy to do. Okay, next, you will be happy to know I fixed my Everywhere sweater. That is a pattern by Knitting McPurley. And I had knit the 3rd or 4th size, I can't remember. And anyway, I got to the sleeve separation and I tried it on. It was way too big. And so I ripped it back to the numbers for the size before. And then I kind of let it sit for a while because I was like, was irritated. Mostly with myself because, you know how when something looks wrong and you keep going because you don't want to stop. Well, anyway, but now I have separated for the sleeves again, and I have done a couple rows under the sleeves, and this fits much better. I have not done like an official try on of this, but I've just kind of put my arm through it, and it fits much, much better. It's still plenty big in the sleeve, and I'm really happy with it. So if I think when I knit a few more inches on this, I will also try this on, and I can kind of give you an official fit report. But that is back going again, and it's really nice now too because that's also moving into the kind of mindless knit because there's no more increases. It's just the twisted rib going down until we get to the pocket, and then I'll have to do a little more thinking. So I am working on that again. Yes, Toby. Grady, why won't you take a nap? Babo get you up?
No, we've been laying down and
I also have an update on Toby's night sweater, which I'm super happy about. So this is in a bag one of my friends made me. It's really big, it's like a pillow. And this sweater, okay, it's going great, but it's like a mess to pull out because it's got stuff hanging all over it. So let me get it sorted out here. Here's the top. It's just a mess. Okay. Why is this so weird? Okay. And of course I'm in the middle of a row, but I was working on this earlier today. So I have started a sleeve. I had him try it on, and I sort of folded it over his arm and pinched where I thought the sleeve should go, and then I counted the stitches. It turns out to be about 80 stitches. So you can see here, this is the back. So the back was wider than the front. So the front has this garter stitch panel on it. And then I picked up here for the sleeve, I put a little progress marker there. So you can see where the sleeve starts. So I have knit about 2 inches of sleeve, maybe 2.5. And I'm doing it in the same like chain mail broken garter stitch that the front, well, and the back are knitted in. And the nice thing about this is it is a drop sleeve, so the sleeve starts kind of like down on his arm. So I'm only a couple inches away from his elbow already. Although I gotta remember, this kid is growing, and I should probably make the sleeves a little bit too long because I want him to wear it more than, you know, one season. But anyway, I'm happy to be working on this again. Yet another project that has finally entered the realm of not mindless, because I am going to have to decrease, but it's pretty mindless. It's just staying in that that ribbing kind of pattern. And but I'm really happy to have gotten to this point, because this sweater was just a couple of flat rectangular pieces for a long time, and it's finally getting done. Also, you know, that blue panel on the front, I've been talking to Toby about what we can put on there. On his original night sweater, he had kind of like a lion rampant, and it was very cool. It was very nightish. Okay, so when I was thinking about what we could put on this sweater, and you know, he loves Redwall with, you know, and it seems like mice are mostly the main characters in Redwall. You know, like Matthias and Martin the Warrior and Madame Mayo. They all start with him. But, and also we got Toby for Christmas a video game called Tales of Iron, which is about mice. Like, it's very Redwall-esque. It's very boyish too. Like, he wanted me to play. He played through it and beat it, and then he wanted me to play it with him. And I've played it a few times, but it's really hard. There's a lot of fighting, and I'm not good at it. It stresses me out. But we are kind of playing through that together. But anyway, that also is I think it's a rat actually in that one. But anyway, so I was like, Toby, why don't we put a mouse on the front of this sweater? And I think he's kind of like, So I'm hoping to be able to design a really good mouse, maybe even, I don't know, in more than one color. So it's not just like the outline of a mouse or like a representation of a mouse, but more like a little tapestry of a mouse. That would be cool. So anyway, I'll let you know how that goes. You know how I always have these lofty ambitions, and then of course they take way longer than I think they're going to. All right, I have my last whip. Is this my last whip? I think it's my last current whip. Is Ivy's Neon Sweater, which I'm just using the numbers from the Flax by Tin Can Knits. And I am knitting I'm knitting the largest kid size. The Flax goes from like tiny baby to really like large man sized, or, you know, it's quite a big circumference. So they have a great range of sizes. And I'm doing the largest kid size, so before it does the extra small adult. But I cast on the neckline with those numbers with a size 6, and I'm holding the yarn triple. So I have this main skein, which is a Hobby Lobby, one of those Hobby Lobby hand-dyed yarns. And then I've got 2 mini skeins, and I'm starting the mini skeins at different points, so they end at different points. So anyway, I cast on with the size 6 needle to do the ribbing. And then when I was done with the ribbing, I was like, okay, I'm going to do some short rows. And so I changed to a size 8. Well, it felt really stiff. You know what I mean? Like, I felt like, man, this is going to be a really like firm sweater. I think this needle's not big enough. So I did a row, and I changed to 9s. And then I still felt like it was pretty stiff. So then I changed to 10s. These are size 10. They're like a chunky little needle. And I'm still using short tips because the circumference is not that big. But, and you can kind of see the color change as it goes down. It's subtle, which I really like, but it's going to continue to just go down through a neon rainbow. But anyway, so I'm not sure if I'm going to be sticking with that size, because I have a feeling if I continue on till I get to the numbers, it's going to be quite large on her. She is, she's 10, she's going to be 11, but she's very, she's tall, but she's very thin. So I don't want this to hang on her. I don't think she'll wear it. So I'm going to kind of be trying this on her as we go and see where I should stop. I'll probably try to kind of pick another size to go by. But once again, this is a top-down raglan, and I should be able to fudge it. And I'm really happy with my short rows. I only did 2 short rows, and I left 4 stitches in the middle completely undone at the short rows. So, and I did German short rows on this, which are my favorite. And I think if you've never done German short rows, they are so much easier than wrap and turn. Because with wrap and turns, I never know how to pick up the wrap. Like, I just never know how to do it. I can't figure it out. So anyway, I really like how the short rows turned out. So you'll be seeing more of this. I did this whole section in like a day and a half, and it wasn't even a ton of knitting, but it was really fun to do because once again, another quasi-mindless knit, and I guess that's what I need right now because I've got a whole bunch of them. Thank the Lord. So those are my whips. I've got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things I'm working on right now. And if I'm honest, I'm sure there's some other things. There's some socks that I haven't touched in a while. And there's just always things hanging around that I'm like, oh yeah, I was making that thing. So, but I'm happy to be working on those things. Okay, so now I have some future cast-ons, because remember in my last episode, if you watched my last episode, I had a bunch of things I was going to cast on. And I did cast on Ivy's sweater, and I talked to Teddy about his vest, and I have some footage from that, which I will put in soon, not quite yet. And then I was going to make Grady a Goodnight Moon sweater and Mary a shawl. Well, I have put the Goodnight Moon sweater on hold because I was thinking I really should make Grady a Batman sweater. Grady has discovered the old Batman show from the 60s with Adam West, who is probably the handsomest Batman. But he loves it so much. He loves the Batman song, and he wants to watch Batman. It's just his favorite right now. You know how he is. He's a little boy. He's going to be 2 in May. And so I thought I just need to capture this moment. So I went to Hobby Lobby and I got some yarn. So technically this is an acquisition, but I got this kind of blue-gray for the main body of the sweater because the old Batman is kind of a blue Batman. So this is for the main body of the sweater. And this is Yarn Bee Must Be Merino. And this is the color aqua. And this is the color teal. I'm going to use this for the cuffs and the collar, you know, all the ribbing. And then I have some black for the bat symbol. And I want to get some yellow. They did not have a yellow in this yarn line. And I think this is a DK because it's 3.5 ounces, 100 grams, and it's 227 yards. Well, actually, that's almost like a worsted. So DK worsted. It does not look like a worsted, but anyway. So I will probably just find a yellow in my stash, and I will probably knit the sweater plain and duplicate stitch a yellow oval and a black bat. So I think I'm going to do that, and I think he'll want to wear it all the time. I bought him a little shirt and shorts, and the shirt has like a Batman face, and it looks like the retro Batman, and it's like a pocket, and he loves that thing. It's so cute. So anyway, so I'm going to do that for Grady. That's a soon to be cast on thing. It's a lot later now. I had to get Grady to go to sleep. So when I was trying to decide about Mary's shawl, and I looked through all my magazines, and I showed her a few, but she was like, those are not my style. I forgot that I had this book I just recently got. Shawls, Wraps, and Scarves by Louisa Harding. And so I thought, oh, good grief, I didn't even look in there. So I looked through, and this is a DK weight yarn. I have 2 balls, and of course they're the same color. And so I looked through and tried to find some that would have that kind of yardage. And there were only really 2. There was this one called Lark's Alvina, which is this. And then there was Rosella, which is this. And I showed them both to Mary, and she picked Rosella, like as soon as she saw it. So this is a very long and thin crescent-shaped shawl with a ruffled lace edge. It's really pretty. And I think it's going to look really nice. So it's just garter stitch, and I think you do short rows, and then you do the ruffle, and it's all, you know, it's not like an attached edging or anything. So that is what I'm going to cast on for Mary in the Nancy yarn, which I might as well show you again because it's so pretty, I think. And I think that'll look really nice. It's not a very demanding yarn as far as being really colorful or anything. So that is that. Okay. And then Teddy came down and talked to me about his vest. So I will insert that footage here. We actually filmed that first, and you can see what we decided to do. So Teddy and I are going to look at some vest patterns and see what he thinks and if there's one that he wants me to make for him. Okay? Mm-hmm. So our first one is this cabled vest by
someone.
Patty Lyons. Yes, and so it's just got a lot of texture in the center and then some cables on the sides. It looks like the armbands are kind of over onto the arm a little bit, so they must not go in very much. What do you think of this one?
Next.
Okay, let's look at this one. This is a Colorwork vest. And this one, it's interesting. It says it has this Fair Isle design on the front and plaid on the back, and they don't show the back, but I don't have to do that. I could do the Fair Isle on both sides, or the plaid on both sides, or anything like that. This is a very classic men's type sweater. She's even wearing a tie with it. And of course, it's hard to imagine it with different colors, but you have to imagine you could do any colors you want. This looks like it has 5 or 6 colors in it. Okay. Anything you think about this one?
I mean, it really, I mean, I think this might just look, I don't know, to me it looks kind of festive.
Yeah, like Christmassy.
It looks Christmassy, so I don't know how it's going to work when I wear it like every day.
True. And sometimes when you have a more boldly patterned
it's going to be harder for me to fit more colors into the,
right.
It's more.
That's true.
Color oriented.
Okay. So that is a color, but you wouldn't be necessarily against a Colorwork sweater, just that it's
just later, like for like a seasonal time. Okay.
Now this, the next two that I have, I actually knit this sweater for you. Remember this? This was your Mario sweater, the brown one.
Yeah, yeah.
So this has a men's vest. This is in DK weight yarn, and it's just plain on the bottom and has this texture section on the top. What do you think of this one?
Well, I mean, this one's nice, I guess. It's just, I don't know. I feel like it's kind of just inconsistent. It's pretty top heavy.
The cat is playing with his ball.
It's pretty top heavy. Maybe it's just like, I might be like better with it if the pattern continued all the way down.
Okay.
But, or if it was just plain, or if it just went to the shoulders with one.
So like this line here.
Yeah, if it just like went there, but then like stopped with this with plain, I feel like it would be better. You know how sometimes the pattern goes across like to the shoulders, like some of the sweaters you made. So I just feel like maybe it goes down a little too far, but it's better.
Okay, so this is a possibility.
It's a possibility.
Okay.
If we alter it some.
Okay. And this one in Knitting Today, which I think sadly is no longer a magazine, they had a really interesting collection in this one that was about, it was art inspired. So they have this men's vest here, which was inspired by Mark Rothko from this painting that he did.
That's a painting.
Yes, it's one of those modern color blocky paintings. He's probably super famous and we've just never heard of him. But anyway, so this is kind of a stripy look, but of course I could do it with one color or fewer colors. We could just use the shape.
I'm pretty disappointed in these people. They didn't even get the yellow right.
It's pretty close.
Not that close.
Well, I think you're more picky because you're an artist. And it's very interesting to me. They have these very close reds. They have like a bright red and a burgundy red.
Also, the brown in the sweater doesn't like border it or like go around each.
You would rather have that. Well, it would match the painting more, I guess.
I don't know what. It's fine, but I feel like it's a little too busy.
Too busy? Because you are looking for a vest that you'll wear all the time and not just every once in a while.
That's the thing. That's why I didn't pick the seasonal looking one.
Right. Okay. Well, let's look at, now these I just have, these are men's sweaters. They are men's sweaters.
Chip.
Okay, so hold on. Okay, so here we have a collection of men's sweaters. They start with these little kid ones, but there is also a man version of it. That's called a Gainsey sweater. But these are all just man sweaters, so I could just do, this is actually just a plain sweater. It's in tweed, so that's what all the little spots are. And I could just do, if you like any of these patterns, I could just do them without sleeves. So this is plain. This is very super cabled. This is like a grandpa sweater.
My grandpa. So.
Are you looking for like only a pullover, or would you want buttons?
I'd like a pullover.
Pullover. This is like a shawl collar.
Or pullover with the zipper at the top, like a short one.
Oh, okay. Like a sporty kind of one. This is a broken rib, so it just has some lines. This has like a colorwork pattern at the top.
A Christmas sweater.
Yes. Oh my goodness, Chip. And this is the grown-up version of the baby ones. So any of those stand out to you? Chip.
I don't know. I feel like this is too plain, too complicated. I'm not that old. It's not my style. Too festive, and I don't know. Again, too top heavy. So,
Okay. All right. Okay. These are throwback sweaters. This one is from 1986, and this one is from 2002, which is the year I got married. So this has a lattice pattern on it. It's kind of hard to see. Cameras weren't very good back then.
No, it looks like it's from a show.
It does, doesn't it?
Looks like it's either from a sitcom or, but the background makes it look like a
I know. This guy totally looks like he could be
action show
in Seinfeld or something. And this one has like a cable pattern on it. It's kind of hard to see because they use this like rag kind of yarn, but it's cable-y. But anyway, either of those of any interest to you? This is like a pattern, but it's kind of plainish. So
I don't know.
Nothing stands out to you?
Nothing really stands out. I mean, like, this one's pattern is like, I mean, like, the design on it is probably pretty noticeable when it's not like this.
Yeah, I know. It's really hard to see what it looks like.
And this pattern is really subtle.
Also, in person, it might show a little better, but
I also don't know if I just like the, I don't know if I like the X's.
The crisscross.
The pie.
Yes, I know it does kind of like a pie.
The pie thing.
All right, this is the last one. This has a really nice men's sweater in it. This is the Enchanted Knits. I think it's an Interweave Knits special
Don't know what that
issue.
means.
It's just a magazine. But there is this really nice men's sweater called the Honest Woodsman Pullover. Where's the picture from it?
So it was right there.
I know, but I think they had bigger, like, oh, here it is. So it's got, I mean, plain sleeves, although that doesn't matter to you, but it's just got this like twisted kind of, it looks like a bunch of branches come together and are twisted and then comes apart. So like, it's like I think it's supposed to be gathered bunches of sticks. And I really like the yarn they used. I think it looks kind of nice and glowy because it's a hand-dyed yarn. But it seems to me you are probably looking for something more plain. Yes. Okay. So would you say that you think the winner is the, that one. Would you say that you think the winner is this one?
Where'd you put that one?
I just kept it set. This one? With maybe some changes?
Yes, probably.
All right, so let's talk about specifics. Do you want me to do this texture pattern further down? I could also, another thing I could do is leave off these stripes and just do this texture pattern straight up. You know, not have a break in there. Do you think that would make a difference?
I think keep the stripes and then have it be plain and then cut it off at there. So like take out this section.
So this section would just be plain.
This section would be plain all the way up to the shoulders.
Okay. And then you just want the texture. You want the stripes and the texture pattern just as it is here.
Sure.
To the V. Okay. And then let's talk about yarn and colors. Do you want me to dye a yarn or do you want like a more flat commercial kind of yarn?
I think the flat one will be easier to mix with different shirts, so it doesn't.
Okay.
The flat one would probably be good, but I don't know what color would work with. Because you could always do like black, which always looks good with any color, but then again, like black is a darker.
Yeah.
Really bland, like too bland. So I have a lot of blue.
Okay.
So I think blue would be good.
Do you want a blue like this, or do you think darker or lighter?
I think this blue color is fine.
Okay, so you want me to recreate this vest except for the stripe and texture pattern right here.
Yeah, that goes all the way up here. That's plain, and then just I guess a
plain
similar color here.
Okay, good. All right. Well, thanks, honey. I will get to work on that as soon as I can.
After you finish your 5 sweaters that you have planned for
I know. There's a lot going on. So I got this knitting graph paper notebook. So it's a 4:5 ratio. So 40 stitches equals 50 rows. And I am going to use this to help design my Murder, She Wrote sweater. And I'm really excited about that. I've actually already started designing some charts. But I just had regular graph paper, so I will be putting those in here and then knitting up some samples of those charts. I am very excited about that. So I got that. I also got this book, the Colorwork Bible, which if you watch Devin of the Knitting McPurley podcast, she mentioned this. It was either in her most recent episode, it might have been the one before. And I decided to get this because it does have a lot of information about color work, just different interesting things about like color itself, color theory, which I never went to art school or even had any art classes, so this is all very interesting to me. And she goes through all the different kinds of things. She talks especially about, I'm interested in the mosaic section and the stranded section, and really all of it, because it's all stuff I think I'm going to be using in the near future. And she has some brioche, and the patterns I really like. I really, really like the patterns. I can see myself making at least half of these patterns. But the biggest thing was, the biggest reason I wanted to get this book was the very last pattern is the Spark Sweater. And several episodes ago, it was quite a few episodes ago, I talked about some yarn I had gotten on vacation. It's called Mushishi, and they're really big skeins, and I got 2. And then I got some white on a similar base, just some undyed. And I wanted to make a 2-color yoke sweater of some kind that was going to be like a Christmassy sweater. So I will, I think I'm going to do that. The only thing is, this sweater is supposedly knit with a DK weight yarn, and it looks beautiful. And she calls for size 1 and size 3 needles. Now, if I knit DK weight yarn in size 1 or size 3 needles, that sweater is going to stand up by itself. Also, I think my yarn is probably a little more on the worsted or even Aran range. So I think I'm going to have to mess around with the sizing. And I really, really probably should knit a swatch, even though I don't like to do that, because it would probably be a long time before I could find out it was too big, or the yarn, wasn't draping nicely or whatever. So, but I really, really, I really like this book, and it's from 2020, so it's relatively new. And it's not a very big book, but it's got a lot of stuff in it. So I was excited to get that. I just ordered it on Amazon. And then, okay, so I don't think I had any more acquisitions. I just wanted to talk briefly about my shop. I dropped my Murder, She Wrote collection in my shop last Saturday, and that went really well. And I just wanted to show you, because it didn't show in the podcast, my 2 sock sets. I have the Grady Fletcher sock set. And so this is a deep dark green, and it's got a denim blue and a gold mini skein. And I stole one of these for myself, and I'm going to make some Colorwork socks with these. I'm very excited about that. I also have the Jessica Fletcher sock set, which comes with a blush mini and a black mini, and it's this kind of deep tonal raspberry. And there is only this one sock set left, so if you want it, you better grab it. If it sells right away, if it doesn't sit there for a while, I will be dyeing more of these, because I think people like them. And of course, because it's Jessica Fletcher, she's the main character, right? So, and also I have put some DK of those 2 main colors, Jessica and Grady. I have put a few skeins of DK in the shop. So if you were looking for something besides a sock weight, you can check that out. Also, for my shop news, like I said, you can just keep your eyes open for my advent calendar. My advent calendar this year is going to be Christie for Christmas. So it's an Agatha Christie mystery. And I think it's going to be really good. I'm really, really excited about it. I've been thinking about it since before last Christmas. And it's going to be the same type of advent calendar, 12 20-gram mini skeins, 1 full skein, a pattern, stitch markers, and other goodies. Now for a quick book talk. Emily of the Woldenburn Knitting Podcast was talking about how she just finished reading Anne of Green Gables and started on the next one, and how she wanted to get through that series. And I had mentioned in my last podcast that I had gotten an Anne of Green Gables book at the thrift store. I think it was Anne of Windy Poplars, or is it Pulpers? No, it's Poplars. I can't ever remember how to say that. But so I decided I want to read through that series too. So Emily and I are going to, I think, do a very low-key read-along of Anne of Green Gables. So she just finished it, but I'm going to read the first one. I don't know if I've actually ever read it. I know I've seen that miniseries or movie or whatever it was that was really big in the 90s. Like, that was a big sleepover staple movie. But I'm going to read it, and hopefully it won't take me too long. Reading either takes me no time at all or takes forever, because I just get interrupted a lot. But I am going to read through that. And so if you want to read with us, I think that would be great. Join in. Let me know that you're reading Anne of Green Gables, and that would be really fun. And we will be talking about that hopefully in the next podcast. Okay, for my mouse book, I wanted to talk about this book, Ralph S. Mouse. And this is going to be on my TBR that I'm going to read to the kids this spring. And this is about a little mouse who belongs to he belongs to a little boy, takes him to school. Anyway, it's kind of like Mouse on a Motorcycle. Is that also by Beverly Cleary? I feel like it is, because I always get these books mixed up. I love everything that I have read of Beverly Cleary. I have read all her Ramona books, some of her other spin-off Henry Huggins and Beezus and Eleanor Tibbins, and she is just a very prolific writer. She wrote a great book about a kitten or a cat. Yeah, it was a kitten, I guess, named Socks. My kids always liked that one. But I love her writing. She is just one of those classic children's authors. So here's a mouse book for you, Ralph S. Mouse. This would be great for your middle readers. And I will be reading that to my kids pretty soon. Right now we're reading The Great Glass Elevator, which is the sequel to Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. And we've been reading that for a while. It's one of those kind of disjointed books where like a bunch of stuff happens and then other stuff happens that's not really related to the first stuff. But it's really funny, of course. It's very silly, and the kids are enjoying that. So as far as life update stuff, we're getting ready for Easter, of course, in the choir. That's always a big thing. Easter always sneaks up on me every year because it's not on the same date or even sometimes in the same month. And so, but it's coming, and we're getting ready for that at church. And we have a bunch of birthdays in the spring in our family. My mom's birthday, my husband's birthday, and 3 of our kids are born in April. Ivy and Toby are right next to each other on the calendar. Then Grady's born in May. So we have a very busy birthday season coming up. And really, I've just been knitting a lot. And there's some sewing that I want to do, which I can sew. I mean, I can sew pretty well. I've been sewing for a long time, since I was, a teenager. My mom taught me how to sew. But I do not enjoy sewing in the same way that I enjoy knitting. Sewing feels much more like a project you have to sort of knuckle down and get done and enjoy the finished product, because I do enjoy having sewn, but I do not always enjoy the process of sewing, because there's a lot of crawling around on the floor, cutting up patterns, and sitting at a machine and feeling trapped. I don't know. It's just psychologically quite different than knitting. But I do have some sewing that I want to do, and maybe I will show you that if I get any of it done. We'll see. But thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this podcast. I would love to hear from you if you want to leave a comment, and of course, like and subscribe. I always forget to mention my Instagram, but I am on Instagram as Mystery Mouse Yarn. And of course, my Etsy shop is Mystery Mouse Yarn Co. on Etsy. And I will put that in hopefully all the other podcasts that I mentioned and the other shops. And all of that I will put down in the description box below. I'll try to link to the books I've mentioned and things like that if you're interested in those things. And I will see you hopefully in 2 weeks again. And